Hello everyone and welcome back to Very Cold Lasagna, your filthy casual place for all the filthy casual takes on the world of sports. I am DylanLasagna, and after about a week to sit back, relax, do whatever you need in your life to recollect yourselves or just take care of your business, we are back in the saddle to talk all things 49ers here in this particular preview as they gear up for a Sunday night. Yeah, that's right. We've been waiting all day for another Sunday night as they host the LA Chargers for a Week 10 matchup as they come off their bye. So for the 49ers, they've had a week to relax, just like all of us fans here. And here they are coming off their bye week, fresh, ready to go, healthy as they ever could be for the most part, as they prepare to host the LA Chargers, mind you. So in the week that was going into this matchup, the Chargers, they returned from their own bye week in week 9 while the Niners were away relaxing, as the Chargers were in Atlanta, starting off their own 2-game road trip against the Atlanta Falcons, who the Niners lost to a couple weeks ago. And in a back and forth affair, Justin Herbert didn't have Keenan Allen nor Mike Williams, but he, along with Austin Eckler, stepped up for some pretty efficient performances to pull away with the 20-17 win down in Atlanta with some help from their kicker, the Dicker, Cameron Dicker. So the Chargers got a pretty solid win down in Atlanta. Meanwhile, for the 49ers, like I said, they were on bye week in week 9. But to recap what happened the last time when they were in action, they scored a 31-14 road victory over the LA Rams, taking the season series yet again. This time around, Christian McCaffrey really shined for the offense, had a rushing, receiving, and passing touchdown, having that triple crown for the first time since forever for an NFL player. And Jimmy Garoppolo had one of his better performances in a long time. So for both of these teams, they're trying to stay in the thick of it of the playoff race. The Chargers trying to, maybe not look like a mid and mediocre team, whereas the 49ers, they're still trying to do the same thing and not try to play a lot of 49ers football for the second half run of the season, and trying to hopefully catch up with Seattle, and hopefully they falter down the stretch in terms of the Seahawks. Now, looking at the injury report for this game for both of these teams, whereas the Niners are getting healthier, more on that later, the Chargers still pretty banged up. They lost their defensive tackle, Austin Johnson, for the season with the MCL injury and a fractured knee from the Falcons game. So one of their key pass rushing rotational players out for the season. So tough luck for them. And they also lost a couple players from that game that probably won't play in this game, like right tackle Trey Pipkins on the offensive line, edge rusher Chris Rumph II. Both of them are game-time decisions with MCL sprains, also from that Atlanta game. So if they're out of that game, so that's another 2 key pieces missing for that Chargers team. 2 other key pieces that are not going to be playing for the Chargers in this game are for Justin Herbert as well. No Keenan Allen yet again with a hamstring injury. No Mike Williams with an ankle injury. So they're going to have to use a lot of Austin Eckler yet again for the 49ers, and a lot of reserve receivers as well. I'm sorry, for the Chargers, And kicker Dustin Hopkins is ruled out yet again with the hamstring injury of his own. But they have the Dicker, the kicker. So and he got special teams player of the week. So should be fine, right? They should be fine. Okay. And then linebackers Emen Ogbonniga, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, who has a groin injury, and Troy Reeder, who has an ankle injury. They're expected to play after they got in a full practice on Friday. Meanwhile, for the 49ers, as unfortunate as the injury news as they're getting with terms of their getting healthy, they did lose a player that has been trying to work his way back up, and that player is Jason Verrett, the corner. He tore his Achilles in a non-contact injury on Wednesday, pretty much effectively ending his season for the second straight year. Really tough break for him, man. He just has the worst injury luck. I'm not going to talk smack about him. Just really hope he recovers well. And man, I'm not sure how he's going to do going forward. It's just really unfortunate. Meanwhile, I guess on a positive note, though, they are getting a lot of their players back. As I discussed a couple weeks ago, Elijah Mitchell, the running back, linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair, defensive end Jordan Willis, offensive lineman Cole McKivitz, all getting activated off injured reserve. So good, healthy bodies, healthy bodies, and we're getting a lot of our main players, with the exception of McKivitz, back. But hey, rotational players are good too, you know. Receivers Deebo Samuel and Juwan Jennings both returned to practice this week after missing the Rams game with hamstring strains. But hey, I mean, it's not like we didn't really notice their absences, right, in that game. Kyle Juszczyk also fully practiced this week after getting finger surgery following the Chiefs game. And yeah, it's good. Again, it's good to have these players back for the stretch run. You know, we're mostly healthy, with the exception of a couple of players missing. And linebacker Dre Greenlaw is expected to play in this game after getting a limited session on Friday. The only two people that are ruled out is like 3/4 of their pass rush, like Javon Kinlaw still on IR, Eric Armstead dealing with foot and ankle injuries. So I'm not sure what's going on with those issues still. And Samson Ebicom, their defensive end, who suffered an additional quad injury on Monday's additional practice. So 3/4 of their defensive line pretty much out for this game. So looking at your top stories for the week, this is pretty much your first of two Clippers Sunday night matchups. Yeah, that's right. You get two Clippers matchups for the price of two these next couple of weeks. Why is that? Well, that's because the NFL decided to put the Clippers back to back on Sunday Night Football. Yeah, that's right, baby. You get to see the Clippers 2 times because they get to play us, the Niners, this Sunday, and then next week they get to host the Chiefs. Oh boy, yeah. Imagine that. Imagine how that's gonna go in a couple weeks. So yeah, they're gonna be in California for this Sunday night game against the 49ers, and then they're gonna go back down to SoCal for the Sunday night game against Kansas City. So, I mean, sure, why not? And then in other news, Jeff Wilson Jr., who's now down in Miami with Raheem Mostert and Mike McDaniel, apparently he confirmed he wanted the trade out of San Francisco, and that led to the trade with Miami. So, I mean, hey, I guess it was expected with Christian McCaffrey now being the lead back and Elijah Mitchell coming back to the lineup. So, yeah, it let Jeff Wilson the odd man out. As much as I didn't want him to leave because, I mean, I thought he was kind of the better back than Elijah Mitchell was. But, you know, my mind can change in an instant. So, I mean, yes, if that's what he wants, then sure. I can care less. And then, for whatever reason, I don't know why the Niners are going to do this. They're expected to go into a bidding war for Odell Beckham Jr. Like, why? Like, why do we need him? Like, just so that the Rams don't get him back? It's like, we don't need Odell Beckham Jr. We have plenty of weapons on offense. We have Debo. We have Ayuk. We have Juwan. We have George Kittle. Now we have Christian McCaffrey. Like, aren't there any other needs besides receiver, running back that we would possibly address? Like an offensive lineman, a corner. Now that Jason Verrett is out again, and we don't have Emmanuel Mosley for the season. Like, there are plenty of other needs that the Niners can address besides the ones that are not priority. You know, just saying. Like, we don't need to get into a bidding war for Odell Beckham Jr. just so another team cannot have him. Like, let that be another team's problem and headache to deal with financially. Now, going to this game against the Chargers, some players to watch. Obviously, for the Chargers, you have to deal with Khalil Mack because, you know, even though you don't have Joey Bosa, you don't have Austin Johnson in the lineup in terms of the pass rush, you still got to account for Khalil Mack, especially the offensive line. That's still kind of suspect. And sure, yeah, Aaron Donald didn't do so great the 2 times that he played the 49ers. But obviously, you can't play the Rams pass rush with just Aaron Donald all the time. So, you still got to account for Khalil Mack and whatever pass rush they have left. And then, of course, you have Asante Samuel Jr. Sure, J.C. Jackson's not there anymore for the season, but Asante Samuel's still a solid corner to play defense on. So if you're going to go attack his way, then be prepared for him to deliver the results. And then, of course, you have Austin Eckler. The Niners' run defense has been pretty good this year, except for that Chiefs game. But Austin Eckler is a very doable threat in the receiving game and in the running game. So the Niners will have to account for him very well, because now that Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are ruled out, Justin Herbert is going to defer to Eckler a whole lot more in this game, just like he did in the Atlanta game a week ago. Meanwhile, for the 49ers, 2 players I'm going to be focused on the most is, obviously, we have to do Jimmy Garoppolo every week, because you don't know what Jimmy G you're going to get every single week. Are you going to get the good one that we had down in LA 2 weeks ago, or are you going to get the one that showed up in against Kansas City? Hopefully the one that showed up in the second half against LA. Hopefully we get that consistency, please. As I mentioned, it's all we asked for. And then I would like to see more of Debo the receiver, Debo Samuel, because he's kind of had a good season, as good of a season as last year. I mean, sure, people have figured out that the strategy of how to shut him down as the running back, Debo. But as a receiver, he's still pretty good. It's just that he hasn't been targeted as much as a receiver this season. So hopefully he can create some separation as a receiver in this game against a beat up Chargers secondary. And then Fred Warner, he, like I said 2 weeks ago when I did the recap for the Rams game, he had a bounce back game against the Rams. He was tackling like a missile. He knew where everything was that was going to happen. He really had one of his best games this season, and a bounce back one at that. So I really expect him to carry that into this game against the Chargers. So looking at some keys to victory for this game, for the Chargers, if they want to upset the Niners here, the first things first, the offensive line has to protect Justin Herbert. Sure, the Niners don't have their full defensive line, especially not 3/4 of it, but they still have a lot of depth of their defensive line. They still got Terry Hyder. They still got Drake Jackson. They still got a whole depth of talent there. And without Rashawn Slater in that lineup, and along with a few other starters that I can't really mention because I have a very short-term memory. Nick Bosa in that pass rush could go ballistic on them. So whatever's left of that offensive line of the Chargers, they got to do all they can to stop the bull rush attack, and especially Nick Bosa, and protect their quarterback from getting sacked relentlessly all game, and especially create running room for Eckler. And secondly, they got to shut down the screen passing game of the 49ers, because that's their specialty. And yes, that's been the Chargers' specialty last week in Atlanta. But you have Khalil Mack, you still have Christian Covington, your defensive lineman, and your safety Derwin James in the secondary still. So you got to use your secondary and your defensive line to find a way to shut down the Niners' specialty in Jimmy G's screen passing handoff game. So find a way to shut that down. And if you really want to make the Niners nervous early, have Justin Herbert throw some aggressive mid-range throws early in the first quarter. And yeah, perhaps that can fire up the defense of the 49ers and make them a little unsettled. Meanwhile, for the 49ers, if you really want to get aggressive with running the football, then run the football down the Chargers' throats. Their run defense is non-existent. especially when it came to that Atlanta game when Cordell Patterson and others were really running down their throat. So, yeah, run the football down their throats. Use Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell. They're gonna feast in that game as long as the offensive line can provide nice openings, but don't get carried away with it. And as I said, get Debo involved in the passing game more. And I would like to see a repeat performance of Week 8 from Jimmy Garoppolo. You know, the one that really got out of the pocket, threw the nice deep ball to Ross Dwelly, and found the opening George Kittle, even though it was kind of late, but still. If the Niners do these three things, they will get the win against the Chargers. And hell, may as well get the win against the Chargers, who are just as beat up as the 49ers were a couple weeks ago. So I'm going with the Niners in this one because, can we really trust the Clippers in this game to pull it off? But even though they have the more superior quarterback than the Niners, I don't know, because the Clippers always find a way to clip it up. Ha! So anyway, those are my thoughts going into this Sunday night game against the Chargers. Yeah, the one game coming off a bye is somehow always waiting all day for a Sunday night. Yeah, those kind of games, those primetime games. Can we pull it off this year with a win? We'll see. I'm hoping so. So anyway, let me know your thoughts on this upcoming game. 49ers, Chargers on a Sunday Night Football down in Santa Clara. Let me know your thoughts for this upcoming game. And anyway, this is DylanLasagna signing out. And keep that lasagna very cold in the fridge with your takes on the world of sports. And until next time, peace out.